Pens, pencils, notepads. The expanding array of back-to-school supplies is expected to bring family spending up 18% this year. According to the National Retail Federation, the average family can expect to spend over $500 on back-to-school items.
I think it really is, how much people want to spend, how elaborate they want to get. A lot of our students do is they bring backpacks as well. And so those also are things that you can go from probably very reasonable to something very expensive, depending on what your likes are as well.
In Marlborough, as in other cities, many families find themselves unable to meet that back-to-school expense. Fatinia Kerr is the executive director of Marlborough Community Services.
I see it every day here at the agency where I talk to people and they just don't have enough cash.
One way that Marlborough Community Services, the managers of the Marlborough Food Pantry, is helping families who can't afford back-to-school supplies and clothes is through its back-to-school program.
The back-to-school program is one of the initiatives that we've had since the beginning of our agency, where we think it's so important for children to feel well about themselves, and the first day of school is often an indicator of what the rest of the school days, the year is going to be. And so if we have children arriving at school with a new outfit and feeling good about their backpacks and in their school supplies, it could just be a really positive beginning to their academic year.
This year, the back-to-school program gave over 400 Marlborough children new backpacks, school supplies, and clothes.
Oh, look at this one. It has a bag with erasers and markers and scissors. We have looked into every single backpack to make sure that the clothing size is correct for the child that's being sponsored, to make sure that the contents of the backpack are age appropriate and gender appropriate. Look at that. This has got to be for a kindergartner.
As the program has grown from 30 children 10 years ago to 400 now, so has sponsorship. Intel, Fidelity, St. Mary's Credit Union, and 2 local churches, the First United Methodist Church and the First Congregational Church, all sponsor the program.
We start in June, taking on applications, and then we process our applications and distributed them throughout all of our sponsors. They adopt a kid for school, and then we just received all these backpacks that you see here now.
This year, volunteers from several community organizations helped the back-to-school program get organized, albeit under confined conditions.
What's been really difficult this year, and this is why the chaos in this office, is that up until this year, we have had a room in this building that has been dedicated just for this. Well, this year, there was no room available. This has been an incredible year for this, but I don't know what's going to happen next year if we have a room. As I said, this was the first time ever that we didn't have a room to do this.
If you're interested in sponsoring a child next year, call Marlborough Community Services at 508-485-2720 and ask for Program Manager Carol Phipps. For Marlborough Magazine, I'm Sophie Burke.
There is really only one boy, one girl, one tree, one forest, one ocean, one mountain, one sky, and one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, EarthShare, one environment, one simple way to care for it. There is really only one boy. One girl. One tree. One forest. One deep, dancing ocean. One mountain calling, one handful of sand through our fingers, one endless sky overhead, and one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, EarthShare, one environment, one simple way to care for it.
Families in Florida prepare themselves for the hurricane season. Families in California prepare themselves for earthquakes. Every family in America should prepare itself for a terrorist attack. And quite frankly, things are very simple. An emergency supply kit, a communication plan. You can learn how to do them on our website. You can get a brochure. Terrorism forces us to make a choice. We can be afraid, or we can be ready. To ultimately be the victor in the war against terrorism, we need all Americans to be engaged, down to the point where we ask mothers and fathers to think about doing some simple things at home to protect themselves and protect their children, like making an emergency supply kit. Have a good communications plan for your family. You can learn how on our new website. You can call for a brochure. We're asking America to be ready, and we will be ready.
I think it's irrelevant where you live or how many people live in your community. It's America. America's the target, not just New York. It's everywhere. And we all have to pitch in. It's time to get serious about preparation. The threat is very real. We know that. And there are some positive things that you can do to better prepare yourself and your family to deal with these problems. Learn to protect yourself at ready.gov or call for a free brochure.
There are a lot of real simple things that people can do to protect themselves and their families.
Making sure you have a communications plan with your family is important.
Store water and non-perishable foods for at least 3 days.
Have a flashlight, extra batteries.
Also having, prescription drugs available.
We're talking the simple necessities of life.
We're asking America to be ready, and we will be ready.
Learn to protect yourself and your family at ready.gov or call for a free brochure. security, I think, is not always a given, which may have been something that we took for granted in the past.
To ultimately be the victor in the war against terrorism, we need all Americans to be engaged, down to the point where we ask mothers and fathers to think about doing some simple things at home to protect themselves and protect their children.
No terror that's even greater, not knowing if your children are safe, if your family's safe. Doesn't come worse than that.
People and your children understand that there is a plan.
Having these plans in place is just sort of common sense.
Establish like a communication plan, how to get in touch with each other.
You'll have a radio, you'll have a flashlight, you'll have batteries.
Make sure you have enough water and food.
Have your basic essentials that you would need in everyday life.
You will have done something to prepare. You were in control. You had a choice. We're asking America to be ready.
People will pull together, and people will make it through this.
Every family in America should prepare itself for a terrorist attack. You can learn how on our new website. You can call for a brochure. Terrorism forces us to make a choice. We can be afraid, or we can be ready.
Over here! Did you know that the first person to fly faster than the speed of sound was Chuck Yeager back in 1947? No? I didn't think so.
It's fun to know history. Find curious facts from America's past at loc.gov, the Library of Congress website.
Mr. Bafundo, the meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, Ed, our company's new president.
Wow. That reminds me of how President William Henry Harrison, 9th American president, caught a cold on Inauguration Day. 31 days later, boom, dead. Yeah, completely dead. 6 feet under.
It's fun to know history. Find curious facts from America's past at loc.gov, the Library of Congress website.
There's a better way to have fun with history. Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.